What's up guys and welcome back to On the Brick with another episode of On the Mock. Today I have some really awesome builds for you as I always do, but this week I did want to focus on smaller builds. Being able to create your own set is an incredible part of LEGO, but I do not want people to think that they have to build these thousands of piece display models or ships or anything like that. All the builds included in this video are ones that I think you can easily do as long as you have at least some sort of collection of parts. I'm not saying, a giant wall full of LEGO. Even if you have a bin in your closet, that should be enough. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. The first two builds are actually from the same designer. This is Kara. They had a build very early on in this series, and this is the Unsc Corvette Mac variant. It took them under 2 hours to make and has a piece count of only 49. Kara also included a wonderful backstory here. The Unsc Corvette is one of the most modified variant during the Human Covenant War. Obviously, this is from Halo, by the way, if you don't already know. The whole front section can be replaced with hangar bays to hold fighters and few Pelican dropships. Looks like Sirius enjoys this vehicle. Anyway, the front can be replaced, like I said, to hold a few Pelican dropships, or it can be swapped out with larger storage space for resupply to any planet that needs it. As for use in war, the whole front section can even hold a Mac cannon and a few turrets, and although the Corvette was a success, it was later retired or sold off after the war with the Covenant ended. And the other build that Kara submitted is this Imperial Armored VIP long travel transport shuttle. It took them at least 4 hours to build this, and they say the pieces are close to 100 or around there. The ship is obviously from Star Wars this time, and it was used by high-ranking Imperials and rich people across the galaxy who made business with the Empire. This vehicle was specifically meant for long travels and of course the safety of any and all VIPs on board, and it was capable of lasting up to 2 weeks in space without needing any sort of resupply, be it food or fuel. The wings on the ship are meant to turn off anyone who see it on radar, making itself look bigger on radar when in reality it is quite a small vehicle. In other words, it was capable of manipulating its appearance to others. This vehicle was first used by Palpatine and soon ended production shortly after the Battle of Endor, and just like the last vehicle, or at least I think with the last vehicle, this was entirely created by Kara. And I love how this thing looks. It reminds me of the TIE Reaper. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but you can definitely see not only the Star Wars influence, but the Imperial influence on this. And that's not always an easy thing to do. More than once I've tried to come up with my own Star Wars vehicle and had no idea what I'm doing. This is a fantastic little build, and Kara, I am sorry it took so long to get to these. Up next we have a build from someone called Char's Boy, or just Char's. I was going to say that I was going to say something's wrong in this, but Char's actually added a pronunciation guide, which is awesome. This build is called Jedi Legacy. It has been nearly 5 years since the Purge began, and since Char's and his master, Banach Va'ard, were shot down by their own troopers, their own teammates, completely out of the blue, leaving only Char's alive, who, to stay safe, went undercover, keeping only the saber that was once wielded by his master, to at least try to continue to train, to eventually be as powerful as he could possibly be. That is a very long sentence. For a few years after that, Char's lived in an abandoned shack close to a small memorial he built for his fallen master, and when Char's left the planet in his ship the Womp Rat, he brings along a small piece of the memorial to forever remember his master as he searches the vast galaxy for a spot in it. This build contains approximately 100 pieces and took them only about an hour and a half to make, with a third of it being trying to make the speeder. They also pointed out that yes, they know the water doesn't look so good, however, I think it looks fine. If he had not said anything there, I wouldn't have noticed. Water in LEGO is not an easy thing to do. There are some pretty clear influences from episode 2 here, of course, if you remember the scene where Anakin mourns his mother. And if I'm not mistaken, a few people in the Discord actually pointed out or thought that this was Anakin, but no, it's his own creation, his own character based off of himself, which I think we have all done that. I mean, when we worked at the LEGO store, we said that my Jedi name would be Ja'an, just my name with an apostrophe thrown in there, because that's how you do a Star Wars name. I also love how he did the kneeling here. And that speeder is also really cool. It's always really interesting seeing new and different designs for the same vehicles. I know I've said that before, but it continues to be true. Speaking of speeders, the next build is one as well. There's not much information to go here. Unfortunately, they didn't really include any, or I just didn't see it. But this build comes from Crockles, and it is this clone speeder. Just by the looks of it, I think this is clearly under 100 pieces, probably under 50 pieces even, and I doubt it's too long to put together. I actually really love some of the details here. I love the guns underneath and how the front of this whole thing is done. I also love how there's like a headrest in the seat area in the back. That's something that I never really thought about, but I like it. Next is probably the only one that's gonna stretch things just a little bit here. This is from KF Bricks. Again, unfortunately, I don't have the information from it, but it was called Kit Fistos' Last Mission. Yes, there has been some editing here for the pictures. I don't really mind, that's fine. But the point being is that there's not too many pieces used here at all. KF Bricks has done a lot of this rockwork stuff, and they are incredibly good at it. And obviously the story here is that this was his last off-world mission before having to return to Coruscant to help Mace Windu face Palpatine. Hey, at least this guy got more than 1 second in the fight. Also, did you know that apparently, and I have not been able to see how true this is, but Order 66 was originally planned to happen at the end of episode 2. That would have really changed the dynamics of the prequels. I've only ever seen a single source on that though, so I don't know how true that is. What I'm really wondering about this build though is if this lightsaber is edited in post-production, if it's actually a glow-in-the-dark one, a light-up one, or some mix of all of that. I actually have no idea, so hopefully you watch this video and tell me. And before we get to the final build, I have something that is a little different. This is the Mandalorian version of Boba Fett by Shiny Mimikyu. The actual armor here was created by Nate's Minifigs, but Shiny had to paint this all by hand. Yeah, the helmet, the chest plates, the gauntlet, the backpack/jetpack, it's all hand painted, and Shiny did a fantastic job with this. I was actually considering giving this an entire Minifig Showcase video of its own, but I have so many minifigures it probably wouldn't have come out until like next year. So I wanted to show it here for you to see. I have painted a lot of figures from Nate's Minifigs, and I can tell you this takes time and it takes dedication and it takes a little bit of skill. While there is always room for improvement, to me this is really good quality. And finally, we have someone who has his own YouTube channel that I would highly recommend checking out. Oh, also really quick, Chars has their own YouTube channel with one of the best videos I've seen. I'm going to link that in the description down below, you should definitely watch that. But Brickmeister is another LEGO YouTuber. He only has 18 subscribers at the time of posting this video. But the guy puts a lot of work into his stuff, and he uploads more than I do for that matter, given a video like this does take all day to make. But the point being is that you should check him out, because what I've been showing on screen is this mock of his called, I totally forgot what this is called, Darth Plagueis versus Darth Venomous. Man, if you want a Sith name, just take something vaguely scary and put Darth in front of it. My name is Darth Bumpin' Tonight. I mean, seriously, you have Plagueis like Plague, Venomous like Venom, Sidious like Insidious, Vader like Invader, Tyrannus like Tyrannus, Maul. You have a character named Savage Opress. I know that's not how it's said, it's Savage Opress, but it's Savage Opress, literally. It's like that scene from Futurama, if you've ever seen it. I'll link that down below too. I don't know if I can show it here, so I'll just link it. None of that is to take away from this build. This is a wonderful landscape build here. I like how this tree is done. It is really, really good. And yes, this does use 2 custom figures, but if you were to do this from your own home, you wouldn't have to use those. In fact, those figures definitely cost more than the rest of this build combined. Point being is that you should definitely check out his channel and help him out. And you can help me out by letting me know your thoughts in the comments down below, which of the mocks today was your favorite, and by making sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, like the fancy thing on screen is telling you to do. Thank you to all of my patrons who have continued their awesome support. I especially want to thank Project Element and Jonathan. If all goes well and according to plan, then on Friday I'm going to be starting a at least 3-part mini-series about something. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you then.